Now, AM 650 presents It's Your Money, an up-close and personal look at your finances. Here's your host, Fred Snyder.
Up in the morning and out to school.
Okay,
The teacher is teaching the golden rule.
live, interactive. Remind you once again, we share this show with you, our listeners. We want you to participate in the show, so we encourage you to call. We want your feedback. We want your questions. We want your comments. If you're already a client, we want your comments. If you've attended a workshop before, we want your comments. If you're curious, you want to get your future started right now, your financial future, that is, it starts with a phone call. So again, get on the line, give us a call. We're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. And I guess we're going to change the name of the show to Money and How to Keep It because it's a little shorter, okay? The more concise you can get that, the better. It's almost like a little nugget. It's a unifying metaphor. We had a questions. A listener called in. They said they were too shy to talk on the air. They said, which is better for a 16-year-old person, a girl actually, an RRSP, a TFSA, or something else? There's not enough information for me to make that decision. First off, it would depend upon the income of the 16-year-old, which is probably virtually nothing, which means they wouldn't save much tax if they made an RRSP contribution, which means they probably couldn't make one anyway. So that 16-year-old person needs a financial plan. That's what that person needs. It's not products per se. It's a financial plan. So I could generate a financial plan for a person that was 2 years old, or even a newborn baby, or someone who's 15 or 16, or someone who's already working. This is a plan, and plans are very, very important. So you want to achieve success, and we talk about the word motivation. Success is the gradual realization of predetermined worthwhile goals. Those goals might have to do with your health. They might have to do with your mental health, your spiritual health, your family health, your financial well-being. It can cover a whole lot of areas. Your social skills. You have to establish goals, and you have to work towards those goals. Napoleon Hill in the book Think and Grow Rich says that anything you can vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass. So what are the goals of this 16-year-old person? And again, somebody's daughter, I presume, be a good idea for the two of them to come and see me and say, we want 2 financial plans, one for each of us. So generate a financial plan. So what is a financial plan? A financial plan is a document. It's a blueprint. A financial plan says, this is a list of my assets, list of my liabilities, my income, my expenses, the taxes I pay, any insurance products that I own. It has a whole bunch of sections in it, a section for cash management, a section for goals, a section for knowledge that needs things that need to be learned, retirement planning, risk reduction, debt reduction. What do you do with the extra money that you have left over after you've maxed out on your registered retirement savings plan? All important issues. So again, you have a question or a comment, get on the line, give us a call. The number to call is area code 604-280-0650. Some people have called in, they call Frida, they said, I spoke too quickly, couldn't get the number down, so I suggest you get a pencil, a pad of paper, make notes, write the phone numbers down. So here it comes again, 604-280-0650. That's live. And if you're shy or reluctant to talk on the air, you can call Frida. She's always down at the office at area code 604-737-3512. Now, if you're calling long distance, it's 877-280-0650 to get us down here at the station. Or if you want to talk to Frida, if you're calling long distance, it's 1-800-661-1495. Remind you once again, we're talking about money and how to keep it. How to keep it is the most important part of that statement. How to keep it. We don't do a very good job. 100 people start out equal today. They're 25 years of age right now. They're kind of just getting going. out of 100 people, by the time they end up at 65, 1 is wealthy, 4 are well-to-do, 5 are still working, 36 have passed away, and the remaining 54 are broke, dependent on family and state. And the reason they're broke, they didn't have a financial plan. Because they didn't have a financial plan, they planned to fail. A financial plan will include, how do I acquire the knowledge that I need, and how do I keep it up to date? Certainly one way to do that is to listen to this radio show and attend our workshops and all kinds of other things that we do to encourage people to learn more about money and how to keep it. The grandmother and mom are giving the 16-year-old money. So the question is, what does the 16-year-old do with the money? Again, how much taxation does the 16-year-old pay? What's the taxation situation? The grandmother's giving money to the child. It could be that, in fact, it's more than likely that's after-tax money. Income tax was paid on that money when it was earned. So it's what's left over after the tax is paid, and then they're giving that to the child, and how should it be invested? Likely, the best place to invest that money is a TFSA. But again, if the child is not paying any tax, not going to benefit from making an RSP contribution because there's nothing to save, the deduction is useless. And if they have a TFSA and they're not paying tax on the interest or the dividends or capital gains that the TFSA earns, same issue. There's no tax. So you got to find an investment product that will grow. One thing that should be done, if it's gifted money, you got the rules of attribution that kick in, and if the child invests the money and generates interest income from the invested money, the interest income so invested does generate taxation if the tax bracket is high enough. The only thing that would happen there is how much is the contribution. If it's quite substantial, then that becomes a deciding factor. The whole thing, it's a beautiful question because the whole thing revolves around a financial plan. You can't make decisions about what to do with your money until you have a financial plan, a well-crafted, well-designed financial plan. And you probably need a financial advisor to do that, and I'm available. So give Frida a call, make an appointment. Once again, you can reach Frida right now, area code 604-737-3512. Now again, the first hour from 9 to 10, we did a replay of a previous show. I listened to that show, and I talked to Frida during that show, and she said there was lots of calls down at the office. So there was a lot of interest in that particular show. And again, we had a few clients call in that were very, very happy, making lots of money with their investments and everything else. That's really what it's all about. And I said, the way to motivate people is appreciation and empathy. And basically, very, very important to have that. Appreciation and understanding. That's what everybody wants. And I had a few calls here on this show last week, and I basically said, you've been so good to me, I feel like beating a path to your door. You're motivating me. And again, I say this, to achieve financial success or success in any endeavor, you can't do it on your own. You need help. Don't be too shy to ask for help. And if you need help, how do you motivate your helpers to help you? Again, appreciation, understanding. These are the key factors in doing that. Show lots of appreciation, show lots of understanding. So get on the line, give us a call. We'll talk more about your money and how to keep it. On the screen, if you're logged in, you can log in right now at www.am650radio.com and click on live or watch TV, and you can watch this show. It's a webcast. But Frida is on the right-hand side of my screen, and her number, 604-737-3512, is clearly there. So again, if you didn't get a chance to get it down and you're logged on, you can see that number. And again, 280-0650 if you want to talk to us live here on the show. So again, we're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. So again, you can log on to my webpage. And again, the webpage is very, very handy. You can get all kinds of information on the webpage. You can get a market update that's on the webpage. You can get executor duties, everything you want to know about wills and estate planning and all that kind of stuff. Case studies are on there. Suggest that everybody do that. So once again, we're talking about your money and how to keep it. And the bottom line is that everybody needs a financial plan. Very few people have the foggiest idea what a financial plan is. It's really about goals. It's really about getting the best products and pursuing your goals. One of the things I want to talk about today, which is new, this is brand new, the GLWBs are coming back. We had about 11 insurance companies offering a fabulous product. We had Helios by Desjardins. We had Manulife Income Plus. We had all kinds of insurance companies were offering this particular product. Helios, too, apparently is out now. And again, I'm not up to date on all the wrinkles, but it's very similar to the old one. And again, anybody's interested, anybody who missed these GLWB products the first time around, looks like they're back. And they're not too far off of the original versions from any research I've done so far. Lots of clients that own these products. 95% of the clients that I have that own these products are very, very pleased with them. And I know that I have one lady on the line right now that does own one of these products, and I'm going to talk to her, is Tracy from Vancouver. Tracy, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Fred. How are you?
Oh, Tracy, I'm just fine.
Well, you know, I'm going to miss your classes.
Yeah, all right.
I've already kind of decided what I'm going to have to do on Thursdays now.
Well, you know something, I'll tell you what. If you guys out there want to do classes, happy to do them once a month.
Well, that sounds like a plan. We've got a group.
Get a group together for me so I don't have to spend all kinds of time hurting people and getting them all together and organizing them and everything else. Get a group of people together. If you belong to a club, you have a whole bunch of friends, you work for a company, anybody out there listening to the show right now, you want our workshops, which are fabulously important and very well recognized and very popular. You want one of these workshops, all you got to do is arrange one. I'll be happy to come to go anywhere and do one.
Thank you, Fred. That's wonderful of you. There's a couple of things I did want to say that the classes that I've attended, I have made some very interesting friends, and interesting being positive. The ladies that I've met are all are interested in keeping and holding on to their money, and are learning about it. And we're gonna meet for lunch on Thursdays, or meet for coffee, and kind of encourage each other to continue saving our money in a way so that it benefits us. So it's nice to have a group of people around you that can be of encouragement and not have you spend your hard-earned money on frivolous things.
You know, Tracy, in the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about the necessity to kind of form a success club, to get a group of people together who are like-minded, who are highly motivated and searching for success and more motivation, that meets regularly. Right.
And it's really good because I've learned a lot from them, and I hope that they've learned something from me. What I do want to make a comment about, Fred, is your original scenario this morning about the 16-year-old that is given money.
Yes.
I think, I'm not going to be positive, but I think you have to be 18 years old in order to open a TFSA.
Yeah, you got to be of age, and I believe that's 19 in BC.
You have to have an SI number, and you have to be a resident of Canada. So,
well, you know, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't open one without a financial plan first.
Right.
I think that really becomes the main issue.
But just to let the lady know.
And even if she could, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. In most cases, there'd be very few cases that it would make sense. You see, a dependent child, someone who's not of age, if you give them money, the rules of attribution kick in. The rules of attribution say that if that person, that child, earns interest income on that money, dividend income on that money, that income attributes to the person that gave them the money in the first place. That person has to pay the tax. The only differential is if it's a capital gain, no attribution applies. So therefore, that child should be investing in something that increases in value and doesn't pay dividends or distribute capital gains or anything like that, such as gold.
Right.
The real stuff.
Right. Okay.
And again, that person shouldn't do that unless they can deal with risk and all. The answer to the question is too complicated for a radio show.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's the gist of it. But again, everybody needs a written financial plan. A written financial plan basically says, these are my goals.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any goals, it helps you establish goals.
Right.
This is a list of my hopes, my plans, my dreams, and my ambitions. This is the direction I want to aim myself in. These are the issues I want to pursue. Then it says, okay, what do I have now? How much money do I have in the bank? How much money do I have in RRSPs? How much money do I have in TFSAs? Where's my money? What do I own? Line by line, you make a list of everything that you own. Now, sometimes when you own stuff, you borrowed money to buy that stuff. So there's debts outstanding. So then there's a list of your liabilities, which is your debts. So that's part of the plan. And the difference between those two is called net worth. Then you list your expenses. This is how I'm spending my money. This is how much I spend on rent, or this is my mortgage payment. This is what my utilities cost. This is what it costs me to drive my car, and on and on and on. So here's a list of how I spend my money. Then the next one is, this is my income. That's where the money comes from. So what's your take-home pay? That needs to be calculated. And the difference between those two is called disposable income. Now, hopefully that number is not negative, because if it is, that's called a deficit. And a proper financial plan will rearrange things to try to avoid that deficit, because if you have a deficit, the only way you're financing that deficit is with borrowed money. So that's what a financial plan looks like. That says this is where I'm at right now, and this is the way it should be 5, 10, 15, or 20 years from now in the future.
Right, yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, and I certainly agree that everybody should have a financial plan and not try and do everything by themselves. So
you were part of a group of people last Thursday. I think we had about 20 people in the boardroom. Of the 20 people in the boardroom, when I asked for a show of hands as to who had a financial plan, how many hands went up?
I don't know. I think about 3.
3.
Yeah.
And these were people that were highly motivated to do better financially, and most of them didn't have a plan.
Right.
Even though I'm offering one at absolutely no cost or obligation. Why in the world would anybody in their right mind turn down the opportunity to get a financial plan if there's no cost or obligation?
Because they're scared to face themselves, I think.
They're afraid of what they might see.
Right.
Well, that's called kidding yourself. Okay?
Right.
Like, we play that Johnny Carson, video
one, yeah.
sometimes about lying to yourself and all the rest of that kind of stuff. The worst lie is the one you tell yourself.
Right.
And avoiding the truth is also a form of deceit.
Yeah.
So you can't kid yourself. The best thing you can do is face reality and say, this is where I'm at right now. Here's where I want to go. This is where I'm at right now. And this is how I'm going to change things so I can get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let some guy like Snyder do it for me. So most people would agree, if you talk to them, most people would agree that unless they get a financial plan, they're not going to achieve their financial objectives, whether they get it from me or somebody else. Unless they get one, they're not going to get there. And they still don't get one.
And they're not going to get to where they want to go.
It's impossible.
Use the road map all the time, driving around town with a bag over your head and hoping you're going to get someplace.
That's my saying.
Without having a wreck or something. Yeah.
I wouldn't have any hope in heck of getting to New York City if I didn't have a road map.
Right.
Never mind a bag over my head, but a road map.
I also wanted to say to you that I think it was last November I took some money out of my RRSP. I'm not going to say the amount, but I took some money out, and I wanted to say that within 6 months it was back to it had grown back to where it was before I took it out.
Yeah.
So it shows me the markets are doing well, and people should be doing making sure that their money is going in the right direction.
Well, they should be, for sure.
Yeah. Right.
The bottom line is the fact that, like, you have a GLWB. I know that some of your investments involve a GLWB. Are you happy with that?
I'm very happy with it.
Guess what? They're bringing them back.
Oh, great.
Best news I've heard in a long time.
Listen, Fred, I'll let you go, and you can get on with your discussion of the GLWB.
Yeah, so anybody out there, you want to find out more about a GLWB and how great it was and how great it's going to be again when they bring them back, give us a call. And we want to talk to you about money and how to keep it, and a GLWB is a good way to do that.
Yeah.
Tracy, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your call. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thanks for being a client.
And you have a nice summer. Okay,
you take care. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, if you just tuned in, I'm certified. I really am. I'm a certified financial advisor representing Scotia McLeod. I'm also a registered financial advisor. That's 2 professional designations. Got lots and lots and lots of experience. And I'm an independent financial advisor. I represent the majority of investment firms and companies that are out there. I think I offer from a pool of something like 2,000 investment funds that are available right now that's out there. So there's lots and lots and lots of product out there. And I said 2,000, I should have said 20,000. I get my ciphers all mixed up sometimes. Never was very good at mathematics. That's why I need a computer. Anyway, the fact of the matter is we're talking about money and how to keep it. And basically the secret is to get yourself a financial plan, get yourself a financial planner. But just as important as anything else, make sure that you have the best investment products inside that plan. We talked about a case study last week. 2% makes a big difference. In this particular case, this particular lady, in the portfolio that she currently has, all with one fund company, all her investments with the same firm, and the investment portfolio that we recommended as a replacement had a return 2.4% better. Now, that's 2.4 per year compounded. 2.4% better with less risk than the portfolio that she currently has. Now, tell me something. Why in the world would anybody have to be persuaded to move their money from a more risky position to something less risky, better diversified, that historically paid 2.4% more money, net of fees and everything else, than what she has right now? That's called a no-brainer. It really is. And again, Richard from Coquitlam, thanks for waiting. I'll take that call right now.
And a good morning to you, Fred.
Good morning, Richard. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, I'm going to put my headphones on. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Speaking at my daughter's service class here a while back.
I recognize your voice. God, I'm good at recognizing voices. She is a great lady.
Yes, she is. We just bought an apartment down in Newport Village, and we're in the process of getting it all fixed up for her and one thing and another. But I thought that was very, very good of you to go and speak to her class. Everybody was very impressed.
That was the Beatty School of Business.
That's right.
At SFU. And again, I say to anybody else listening to this show, they want me to be a speaker, to conduct a workshop or a class. Very happy to do it anytime, anywhere, any place. If I spent the rest of my life doing that, I'd be happy. I'm seriously considering talking to a cruise ship and making a permanent arrangement on a cruise ship and doing financial planning on cruise ships.
Sounds like a hell of an idea to me.
And a great lifestyle.
You betcha. So tell me a little bit about this new big boat that you've got now.
Well, it's not what you'd call huge. It's a 23-footer. It's called a Triumph. It's like a Boston whaler.
Right.
It's made out of material. Apparently, they make these boats for the U.S. Navy. Apparently, they're bulletproof.
Oh yeah, Kevlar or something like that.
It looks like fiberglass, but it's not. You don't even have to bottom paint it when it's in the ocean.
Right.
So essentially, it's a great boat. I got 175 horsepower Yamaha on the back, and it's big enough that it's great and it's got a T-top.
Right.
So I'll be doing a little fishing this year.
And where are we keeping this craft?
Thunderbird Marine.
Oh, well, you'll have to take a run up Indian Arm one day. I'll give you directions, okay?
Okay, I know you got a place up there. How far up are you?
Off the tip of Crocker Island, just down from Granite Falls.
Yeah, I've been up there a few times, but not in a long time.
All right. Well, it's time you did. Like I say, we'll give you a fresh prawn feed, okay?
Okay.
We'll be in touch.
Can't tell you how much I appreciate your call.
Okay, thank you.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
Richard. Bye-bye. Okay, Richard's line is now open, ladies and gentlemen, and listeners out there. If you just joined us, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner, and we have to go to the break. So I'm going to go to the break right now, and when we come back, we'll take more of your calls, so don't go away.
Fred Snyder.
I want people to call the show that are genuinely interested in increasing their financial IQ so that they can become financially independent sooner and stay financially independent longer.
Fred Snyder.
You don't have a blueprint. Imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. And how about having a blueprint for your life? What are your lifestyle goals? You need to think about your family life. What are your goals about your family life? What are your lifestyle goals when it comes to health? What are your lifestyle goals when it comes to finances, mental and spiritual? You have to set goals in all those areas, not just finances.
Fred Snyder.
Often we fail because we put too much emphasis on one area and ignore everything else. We work our butts off and we ruin our health. So life is all about balance. So you need a life plan.
Fred Snyder.
Napoleon Hill says this, wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. Anything that you can vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass.
Fred Snyder.
My goal, my mission is to help people enhance their financial IQs by teaching them what they need to know to make better financial decisions.
Fred Snyder. And It's Your Money. Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9 on AM 650. It's worth your time. This is CISL Vancouver. All-time favorites. AM 650. Welcome back to It's Your Money on AM 650. If you have a question for Fred, call 604-280-0650. Now, back to Fred.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're interactive. Remind you once again, we take your calls. We want you to call. We want to talk to you about your money or money and how to keep it, particularly your money and how to keep it. How to even make more is probably a good idea. How to spend it. How to really get yourself a financial plan, and why a financial plan is a very, very important thing to have. And most people don't have one. So again, I often talk about the 3 P's of success. So memorize that. 3 P's. 3 P's in a pod. The first P stands for plan. You must have a plan. The plan must be in writing. The plan, in most cases, should be prepared by a qualified financial advisor. You have to have ongoing planning. You can't just take the plan, stick it up on the shelf, let it gather dust and forget about it. You got to work the plan. You got to review it at least once a year. Anytime that there's a change in the economy or a change in your personal circumstances calls for another review. In my case, I do not charge for the plan or the planning that goes along with it. It's complimentary. Then you must have the best products inside the plan. So how do you make sure that you have the best products inside the financial plan? You have to do that. If you don't, It's a problem, okay? It's a serious problem. Let's talk to Jerry from Burnaby. Jerry, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hi, Jerry.
Yeah, I have a question here. We're getting to 70 or 71. I'm not sure it's the time when you got to change over your RRSPs, and maybe we have 120,000. And what's better, a RIF or an annuity, and how do they work?
Well, they're kind of similar. And when you talk about annuity, are you talking about a life annuity that's not commutable, or are you talking about a commutable annuity? They're different things.
Yeah,
You see,
well,
Manulife Income Plus and Desjardins Helios, which I alluded to earlier, are GLWB products. These are products, these are annuities, but they're liquid, they're cashable.
Okay.
These are annuities that are liquid. You can get an annuity where the income payment would be higher, but it's not liquid at all. It's totally locked in.
Yeah, and when it's locked in, that means when you pass on, it's gone.
Well, it depends on whether you have survivor benefits attached to it.
Right.
The more frills you attach to it, the smaller the check you get.
Okay, how does that compare then with a RIF?
It doesn't really, because the RIF is just a vehicle. The RIF is a vehicle that you put mutual funds and various investments and even annuities inside.
I thought you were guaranteed a certain income from that too, not necessarily?
No, you're not. No, with a RIF, you can withdraw anything you want, providing the product allows you to do so.
Right.
But it is subject to a minimum rate of withdrawal. For example, at age 71, stand to be corrected, I'm pretty close on this one, the minimum RIF payment is about 7.4% of what's in the account.
I see, okay.
And you have to take that 7.4 whether you want it or not.
Right.
You can take more than the 7.4, but not less. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a schedule, if you Google it, there's a schedule available on the internet. We'll give you the precise percentages, but it's 7.4, and it increases a little bit each year.
Okay.
And again, whether like you have to convert your RRSP to a RIF by the end of the year you turn 71. You don't have to take anything out until the following year, but that structure has to be in place before the end of the year you turn 71, or the whole thing becomes deregistered.
Okay.
So you got to be careful about that.
Before the end
But the RIF is just, all a RIF really is an RRSP in reverse.
Okay.
With the RRSP, it's registered and it's tax sheltered, and the RIF says, the RRSP says you make contributions. The RIF says you take money out. A lot of people think they cash it out and they got to change all the investments. You don't have to change anything. You just change the RRSP to a RIF. Keep the same investments if you want.
Okay, and this has to be done before 71, and this is, of course, separate for if we're different age, husband and wife. It doesn't matter because the RRSP is dedicated to a certain person, right?
It depends on whether it's in your wife's name or your name.
Right.
And you can make the RIF based on the age of the younger spouse if the spouse is younger.
Okay. Okay.
There's a lot of planning issues that need to be looked at when you arrive at this milestone. Mm-hmm. The most important thing to understand is a lot of people think they have to cash it out, change the investments. You don't have to do that if you don't want to at all. You may have terrific investments inside that plan.
Right.
There'd be no point in changing those if that's the case.
Okay.
But if the investments you have inside the, for example, I talked to a client last week whose portfolio has been returning about 4.9%.
Wow.
Okay? Now, that's not bad when you compare that with the GIC. But the fact is that she's got to start taking out 7.4% the first year, and the portfolio is only generating a little bit more than 5%.
Yeah, you're going to go down on the principal.
So she's going to be depleting her principal.
Yeah. Okay.
And the RIF withdrawal will be, the minimum is 7.4. It's going to get bigger. It's even worse. So the portfolio is not generating the kinds of return which is going to sustain the capital.
Now, is there a minimum? What if you took it out the money, the 7.5 out of the RIF and put it in an annuity? Can you change these things back and forth?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
You can, but if it's an annuity, remember one thing: if it's a straight annuity, you can't. You're locked. If it's a straight annuity, you're locked in.
Yeah, but I mean, the first year, if I took 7.5% out of the RIF, could I lock that into an annuity?
Yes, providing an insurance company will accept a small amount like that.
Right. Okay, that's very, very helpful.
Probably the best approach on this whole issue is that whether you have to set up a RIF or not is really not the issue. The issue is, what are the best investment vehicles for you?
I see. Yeah.
Whether they're a RIF or not.
That's right. Yeah.
That's where the whole process starts.
Yeah.
So when you come and see me, we take a look at your portfolio. We run it through a program called ProStation, which is like doing an MRI in your portfolio. It measures the track record of the portfolio, not the individual funds. It does that too. But it says when you combine all the investments you currently have, this is the track record. This is what it's done year over year. It converts that to a compound rate as well. So you know what the compound rate is.
Okay.
It basically says this is how that compares with an index, a benchmark.
Yeah.
And your portfolio may be better than the benchmark or not as good as the benchmark. If it's not as good, obviously, there's room for improvement.
Right.
Then it will compare that to an alternative, which is what we would recommend as a replacement.
Okay.
And it measures the risk in your portfolio versus the alternative versus the benchmark. So you got two things to consider. What is the return and what is the risk? Because risk is just as important as return.
Yes.
If I'm showing you and I said, look at this investment fund, it's generating 20% compounded annually. That's pretty good, but what's the risk?
That's right. I could.
How
lose it
much
all.
did that portfolio decline back in 08 when we had the market meltdown? Because if it did it in 08, it could potentially do it again.
True.
And that's called the expected return. I can't guarantee returns, and that's the GLWB products that we talked about earlier. But I can tell you, based on track records and based on certain mathematical formulas, what the expected return is.
Right. Okay.
So you need to go through that whole process,
Right.
Jerry. And because you're reaching that divide in the road right now, you got some decisions to make. And there's no better time to phone somebody like myself or Frida, make an appointment, and come on in for a financial plan.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll give you a call. Maybe not probably in a month or two, but I will do it. I've heard you before, and I'm kind of impressed. Thanks very much.
Jerry, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
Okay, and remember, once again, there's no cost, there's no obligation.
Right.
And again, you get the information, you can decide when and if you want to employ it, put it to work.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate the call.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. So, ladies and gentlemen and listeners, if you just joined us, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. We're talking about money and how to keep it. That was Jerry from Burnaby. And again, he needs to do some planning because he's at this point in time when he's got to make some decisions regarding his RIF and how to set it up. RIF is what happens when you begin to want or need to take money out of your registered retirement savings plan. Everybody's faced with that decision. You must do this by the end of the year you turn 71. Withdrawals have to start the following year. A lot of people think, well, what am I going to do? I got these incredibly great investment funds inside my portfolio. Do I cash them in? And what am I going to buy if I cash? No, you don't have to do that. You can keep the very ones you have right now if you like them. But how do you know? Do you know whether you have the right portfolio or not? You know, like there's 10 investment funds that we use in our model portfolios. 10. We have 11 portfolios. Same funds. But the percentage invested in each fund is different depending on the portfolio. They're the same funds. Why would I change the fund when I already have the best fund? There's no point in doing that. You know what percentage of the time when people come to see me, do you know what percentage of the time they have the best funds in their portfolio, the existing one? Very, very rare. Very rare. Occasionally, maybe one fund. Do you know what the best performing Canadian equity dividend fund is? I'll give you the name right now. You should have it in your portfolio if you have any Canadian equities in your portfolio. It's RBC Canadian Equity Income Fund. Average rate of return on that fund over the last 5 years is well over 20%, compounded annually. You know, if you get 20% on your money compounded annually, and you can sustain that rate of return, and I'm not suggesting you can, I'm not suggesting it's guaranteed in any way, shape, or form, but if you can get 20% on your money You divide the rate of return into 72, and that's how long it takes to double your money. So if you divide 20 into 72, it goes approximately 3.5 times. So that means if that fund continues to perform at that rate, that you will double your money every 2.5 years. That's a lot better than doubling it every 10 years. Think about that and how many years you have yet to go. So again, if you've just joined us, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also a registered financial planner. We're talking about money and how to keep it. And again, area code 604-280-0650. That's the number to call, 604-280-0650. Frida is down at the office right now. For those who are shy or reluctant to talk on the air, 877-280-0650. If you want to log on, you can log on. You can see what we look like. Again, www.am650radio.com. Click on Watch TV, and you'll be able to see us live. You can watch my body language, watch me waving my hands around and all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to see it just as if you were watching television. Again, if you're shy or reluctant to talk on the air, and some people are, I recognize that. Frida's down at the office at area code 604-737-3512, long distance 800-661-1495. Again, I talked to Tracy earlier. I talked to Richard earlier. And again, Richard's daughter is a professor at UBC, Beatty School of Business, did a workshop out there a few weeks ago. And again, anybody who has an organization, maybe you run a company, maybe you belong to a service club, you're looking for a speaker to come and talk to your group of people about money and how to keep it, I'm available. Be happy to do that. Remind you once again, there is absolutely no cost, no obligation. Remind you that it's not about how much you make that counts, it's about how much you keep. So money and how to keep it is the theme, and we don't do a very good job in that particular area. Ask yourself this question: how long have I worked? How much money have I made during my working career so far? How much have I made? How much of what I made do I have left today? And the chances are you're not happy with the answers. And if you want to improve on that, you have to get yourself a financial plan. Not getting a financial plan is a decision. Getting one is a decision. Einstein once said, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. So not getting a financial plan and continuing to do that over and over and over again is the definition of insanity, especially when the financial plan is at absolutely no cost. So you're out there right now. I want you to answer this question for your own sake, for your own benefit. How much is my discretionary income? At the end of the month, how much money, at least on paper, do I have left over? Do I put my money in the bank and then I just randomly spend it and hope there's something left over at the end of the month? Or do I put my money in the bank and do I take a definite amount for my money, of my money out first and invest it in investment funds or some form of investment program and then budget to pay everybody else? So if I just hope I have something left over at the end of the month, you probably won't. If you make sure you have something left over at the end of the month by paying yourself first, it works. Trust me, it works. And for most people, they don't do it. Look at the Canadian government right now. The national debt is up to $680 billion or so. That's all borrowed money, borrowed from foreigners and other Canadians. The reason that's happened is because the government spent more money than it collected in taxes. And a lot of what the government spent was waste. And look at the situation in the United States right now. We have a debt load in the United States which is close to $17 trillion. And as bad as that is, ladies and gentlemen and listeners out there, as bad as that is, it's really worse, because that number does not include unfunded future liabilities. And what I'm talking about when I say an unfunded future liability, I'm talking about the fact that the U.S. government and the Canadian government has obligated itself to make payments in the future for pension plans like the Canada Pension Plan, health care, and all kinds of other issues. They've obligated themselves. Those are unfunded future liabilities. The $17 trillion the United States owes and the $680 billion that the Canadian government owes does not include that. That's current. So we have a massive debt load to deal with at the government level. So if you have a massive debt problem yourself, don't feel ashamed of yourself, because the government's far worse off than you are. But it's time to get a grip. It's time to do something about it. It's time to get a financial plan. That may involve a phone call. So get on the line, talk to us. It's about money and how to keep it. In the meantime, we'll talk to Susan from Surrey. Susan, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Hi, Susan.
I just want to know about what kind of, you said RBC bond equity fund you mentioned?
Yeah.
RBC equity fund.
This is RBC, Canadian Equity Income Fund. That's the exact name of the fund.
Oh, I see. Canadian income?
And that's a commercial for RBC. Now, you want to get a top fund, ask yourself this question. Just ask you, do I have that fund in my portfolio? Because that's the number one Canadian Equity Income Fund. There's not a better one.
I see. Okay, thank you.
The rate of return on that fund right now is over 20% compounded annually over the last 5 years.
Wow, it's RBC Canadian Income Equity Fund.
Equity income.
Oh, equity income. Okay.
You got to be specific, because RBC's got, 400 funds. That's one of maybe 400, but that's the best.
I see. I just missed the name, so I said, okay, I never called.
They have bond funds. They have asset allocation funds. They got precious metals funds. They got all kinds of different funds. But if you're looking for a Canadian equity fund which invests in a broad diversification of Canadian securities, benchmark being the TSX, this is the best performing fund that's out there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate your call. You enjoy the rest of the weekend, Susan.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
It's a very nice program.
Oh, thank you.
I always listen. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, ladies and gentlemen and listeners, if you just joined us, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. I'm independent. That key word, independent, is important. I'm certified and I'm registered. That's important. I have a lot of experience. That's important. I'm a director of wealth management with Scotia McLeod. That's important. I've been in the business for many, many, many years, and so when I allude to experience, I have a lot of experience, probably more than most. So you want to get yourself a proper plan. You want to get good, solid advice based on experience. I'm the guy to talk to, and my link, or the link to me, is Frida. So you can get me by calling Frida, area code 604-737-3512, and she'll be down there for the better part of the day. So you want to make arrangements, an appointment to come in and see myself, give her a call. If you're calling long distance, it's 800-661-1495. Again, we're talking about your money and how to keep it. So again, what I want to do is I just want to review some books. This is what I call my library. And again, I think I'm going to give a book away today. I just feel generous, okay? So if you call the show, be happy to give you any one of these books. You just phone in and make a call, give you any book you want, as long as it's one of these. Okay, we got The Richest Man in Babylon. We have Think and Grow Rich. We have The Greatest Salesman in the World. God, I love that book. The Wealthy Barber. There's 1 and 2. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. Acres of Diamonds. The list goes on and on and on. Pensionize Your Nest Egg. You want to get up to date on GLWB products? That's a powerful book to read. Smart is the New Rich. The Power of Positive Thinking. Call us. You get a book free. Okay? You can pick any one you want. So again, ladies and gentlemen, listeners out there, if you just tuned in, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner. We're talking about your money and how to keep it, and basically your hopes, your plans, your dreams, and your ambitions, everything that you really want out of life depends on money. And some people say they don't like money. I don't believe them. I think they lie about other things. The fact of the matter is I've been rich and I've been poor, and I'd much rather be rich. And we're talking about the fundamentals of how to get there. So again, what are your numbers? Ask yourself this question. Very, very simple. When I retire 10 years from now, how much money do I need to live on? How much money do I need to make my mortgage payment if I have one? How much money will I need to pay my property taxes? How much money will I need to buy my groceries? How much money will I need to travel? How much to drive my car every month? How much will I need for life insurance and other insurance products? How much money will I need for my vacation every year? How much money will I need for gifts and charity? You want all those titles? I have a little piece of software that I'm happy to give away, which will allow you to do your own budget. You can actually probably put the app on your cell phone if you want. But really, I think financial planning starts by defining how you're spending your money. Like you go to the psychiatrist, you sit down or lie down on the couch, the first thing the psychiatrist says is this: tell me about how you spend your money. And encourages you to talk. So start talking about how you spend your money. That's first. And then the second part of that question is, I figured it out, and I need $40,000 a year 10 years from now. Now I have to adjust that $40,000 a year for inflation. So I have to assume a certain rate of inflation. If I overassume, I'm going to be safe. If I underassume, I'm not. So I'm going to assume 3% for inflation. Therefore, the $40,000 has to increase by 3% for each year that I live after age 65, if I plan on retiring at 65. So the next part of that question is, how long am I going to live? And who knows? If you live to be 100, and you retire at 65, you got 25 years of income that you need. 35. Okay? 35 years of income, inflation adjusted at 3%. So how much principal do I need in my account when I turn 65 to generate that income? Now that's a mathematical calculation that has to be done. A financial plan will do that. That says the size of the nest egg when I turn 65 needs to be, we'll say $1 million, because I don't even know what the number is right now, but let's say it's $1 million. But I'm 10 years away. So what do I have to do today to have $1 million inflation adjusted by age 65? Well, that depends on how much money you have today. I got $200,000. So how do I turn my $200,000 into $1 million 10 years from now? Inflation adjusted. Well, maybe I can add $1,000 a month to it. That'll help. Maybe instead of getting 5% of my money, I need to get 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. I don't know what the number is. You got to do the calculation. It's called the net present value of money. So you need to talk to an advisor who can generate a plan that can put these numbers together. And guess what happens if you don't do it? One day you're going to turn 65 and you're going to be broke. You're not going to be able to retire at 65. You're not going to be able to do the things that you really want to do. So this is your opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to define your financial future, to sit down with a paintbrush and make a picture of your whole financial future. Lay it out. Get yourself a plan. 3 P's: plan, planning, and product. Get on the line and give us a call, 604-280-0650. Long distance, 877-280-0650. Log on, www.am650radio.com. Click Watch TV, and you can see us live. Now, if you don't want to do all that, or you want to hook up with me, call Frida. Area code 604-737-2787. 800-661-3512. Long distance, 800-661-1495. And like I said earlier, we'll be happy to give you any one of these books simply because you made a phone call. And again, if you have a Kobo, you have a Kindle, you have an iPhone or an iPad, we can get you the electronic version of this book, and you can download it through the air, put it on your device, carry it around with you. On my iPhone right now, I have all of these books are on my iPhone. Unbelievable. Hard to believe that anything can be that efficient. I can just imagine carrying this around as opposed to all these books. Wouldn't have a hope. 604-280-0650. Long distance, 877-280-0650. Frida down at the office. Area code 604-737-3512. Long distance, 800-661-1495. Incidentally, if anybody is out there right now and you're interested, fabulous fishing trip, the Edgewater Fortune, August the 8th, I believe, is the starting date. Edgewater Fortune goes up to about 10 miles south of Bella Bella. 1 day up, 1 day back, 5 days fishing. Cost is $2,700. Well worth your while. I've done it 8 years in a row right now. Never been disappointed. Fabulous fishing. You might, if you're interested, give me a call, give you more details. So once again, area code 604-280-0650. Long distance, 877-280-0650. www.am650radio.com. Frida down at the office, area code 604-737-3512. The long distance, 800-661-1495. We're talking about money and how to keep it, and that's really what it's all about, bottom line. So again, you need to, really think about this particular challenge. If you don't have a goal, how are you going to get there? You don't have a goal, how are you going to get there? At least half the people that I talk to ask that question. Do you have any well-defined financial goals? You know what they say? No. What do you mean? Well, for example, would you like to have a bigger house? Of course. But I can't get there. How do you know? Maybe somebody's got to run the numbers for you. Maybe you'd like to have yourself a waterfront house someplace. Maybe you'd like a cottage on the lake, a chalet at Whistler, a 40-foot yacht. Maybe like Tracy, you'd like to take world vacations. Tracy called in earlier. We're talking to her. I'm sure she doesn't mind me saying, but she had a 4-month world tour a couple years ago. 4 months. And, I told her she should buy a house, and she said, no way, I'm saving my money for traveling. I just love to travel. Well, think about that. This is lifestyle that we're talking about. And here you have a chance to define, to shape, to become artistic, if you want to look at it that way, to define and shape your financial future and your future lifestyle, the lifestyle that goes along with it. But you got to make sure that if you live to be 100, that your money doesn't die when you're 80. Okay? Because if that happens, you're going to be broke for 20 years. Financial planning is not simple. I wish it was, but it's not. And everybody needs a financial plan and a financial advisor to help them make the plan work, and the best products inside the financial plan. And most people, that's not what they have, and that's why they're not going to get there. So again, we have to wrap it up. So once again, if you want to take this to the next level, the person to call is Frida down at the office right now, area code 604-737-3512, long distance 800-661-1495. You want to arrange for a seminar for me to come to you, I'll be happy to do so. Any place, anytime. Again, call Frida. Give the number out. Once again, area code 604-737-3512. I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also a registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. It's about money and how to keep it, and we'll see you same time, same station next week. Have a nice weekend. Bye for now.